Yesterday was the NFC. Today is the AFC as we determine our initial draft dudes bet for the 2023 NFL season, pass or smash style, on today's episode of the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Krabs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league. The Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We'd like to thank you for making Locked On NFL Scouting your first listen every day, and a big welcome and shout out to our everydayers. You know who you are. Those of you who never miss a single episode, appreciate y'all being here very, very much.
Joe, we had a very successful day yesterday selecting bets. I feel better about my selections on the AFC side of things for your takes than I did on the NFC side of things. So I'm very excited to not feel like I'm breathing through a straw, trying to find four bets.
Well, listen, Kyle, I get it. Like I can sense from you that you feel like some of my stuff wasn't quite edgy enough, and it put.
It's fine.
I don't think you're wrong though. I want to acknowledge it. You were more aggressive than me, and this is not setting up well for you. I would agree with that.
It's not. I do like my options today though, and I don't feel like I got. Like I've been simmering for the last 20 minutes or so. Like, what do I want to sit on for my veto for you trying to take mine? Because that's part of this too. So if you missed yesterday, first of all, go ahead and call yourself a timeout. Go back, listen to the NFC bets. Joe and I at the end of last week made one bold prediction. Use air quotes for bold. One bold prediction for all 32 teams. Joe did Thursday. I did Friday. Right? That's how that worked out. No, I did Friday. I did Thursday. You did Friday.
Right.
We did not listen to each other's bets ahead of time. Then we came together yesterday and said we each have to take four bold predictions from the other person to be our bets for the season. You have one veto. If somebody tries to take like an egregiously bold bet, you can veto that one. Say, well, yeah, I was trying to do bold bets. You can't take that one. Joe took 5 yesterday. I vetoed another for 6. So he almost took half the league, half the conference. I took 4. I needed to double back to find my 4th one. Now, though, I feel like there were only 2 like egregiously hot takes for me in the AFC.
You got a veto in your bag.
I got a veto in my bag, and I'm ready to use it.
All right. Fun shall be had today.
You want to start with the AFC East?
Yeah.
Where the Buffalo Bills are the reigning AFC East champions, and therefore are going to get acknowledged first. Your bold prediction for the Buffalo Bills was what?
I said Stephon Diggs breaks the franchise single-season receiving touchdown record, which is currently at 11. He tied it last year. I'm predicting 12 receiving touchdowns for Diggs in 2023.
Mine was that the Bills get their first 1,000-yard rusher since Shady McCoy in 2017. Do you like that bet?
I've wrestled with that a lot. When you said it, I thought a lot about it, and I've thought a lot about it since. My apprehension for it is just volume. James Cook, the most touches he's had dating back to 3 seasons at Georgia, last year with the Bills is 140, right? And the Bills typically cap their lead running back, which has been Devin Singletary, between 180 and 220 touches. That's kind of been the sweet spot.
Yep.
And so will he get the volume, especially with pass blocking concerns, especially with the existence of Damian Harris and Latavius Murray, who look to have parts? I can see it, but I don't think I would bet it, but I'm not sure I'm going to bet against it.
What's the likelihood that it's not James Cook?
No, I think it's going to be James Cook. I watched this team last week for 4 or 5 practices.
It's James pretty active.
James Cook's the lead back. But
Okay.
That's Bills terms lead back. That's not Josh Jacobs or McCaffrey or Barkley, those types of guys.
Right.
That's the 180 to 220. And will they ramp him up from his career high being 140 back in 2021 to having enough? And that's touches. That's not just carries. Touches.
Right.
So I think you're going to be right about this. No, I think you could be right about this, but I don't feel strongly enough to
bet it.
Yeah, I don't. This is going to be a pass for me.
Okay, and I'm going to pass on. I'm not smashing Stephon Diggs. 11 feels like a surprisingly low number.
You're right. I've been talking about this for years.
Of wide receivers in Buffalo.
Bill Brooks is the record holder, like 1995. It wasn't Andre Reed. It wasn't Eric Moulds, Stevie Johnson, James Lofton. No, it was Bill Brooks, and now Diggs tied him last year at 11. Someone's going to break that thing, right?
Big Diggs.
All right. So
okay.
We're staying away from the Bills.
The Miami Dolphins finished second in the AFC East last season. My bold prediction for the Dolphins this year is that Jalen Phillips gets as many sacks as the number on his jersey, which is 15 this year.
Man, I was listening to Von Miller. Von Miller was on the Up and Adams. What is it? Is it a show podcast?
That's FanDuel?
Yeah, it's on. I watched it on YouTube TV. I watched the video. It was a 13-minute video, and he was talking about his favorite up and coming pass rushers, and he was talking about Phillips. He's like, man, he's got all this stuff. I'm not touching that. I think it's unlikely. But I'm not going to sit here and bet against that. And then you get it and then rub that. That's not good. That's not good process.
Just rub your nose in it.
Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and have you enjoying this breakout defensive player. Meanwhile, there's an extra layer that you get from me being wrong about it. I think he's got everything possible. I love the defense that he's in. I love the players that he's rushing with. I think this is well within reach for him. It was never talent with Phillips, man. It was never talent.
Yeah. Going back to when he first came to UCLA, he was like the number one recruit in the country.
Dude. Monster.
Medically retired, transfers to Miami.
Right.
Stacks all the weight back on that he ever lost. He's every bit of 6'5", 265, 270 right now. And just crazy explosive.
Yeah.
Look
at the right tackles in the AFC East too, man. He's going to have some chances, man. No, I'm staying away from that. I predicted a sack thing for the Dolphins as well. 6 or more for Christian Wilkins, career high 4.5, 11.5 through 4 seasons. I think he gets at least 6. Thought about going higher, but I'm a little bit of a coward.
I'd smash if it was 8, just because from a probability standpoint. But 6, I think, is a very achievable number.
Ooh! Can I give you 8 right now, just so that you have to deal with that? Will you take it?
And oh no, I'm wrong. Christian Wilkins got 9 sacks. Oh no, I feel like that's a house money bet for me. If I'm right, I'm right and I have the bet. And if I'm wrong, then Christian Wilkins has 9 sacks.
Could. Especially doesn't get that contract.
If you would put it in the back pocket, I'd consider it.
We'll see where we go.
We'll see where we go.
For now, we'll stay away.
Okay. Let's sneak. Should we try to sneak the entire East in? Think we have time? The Patriots next?
Let's go to the Patriots next, see what happens.
Bye, Bill. That's my bold prediction. Bye, Bill.
So, what's your time frame? There's going to be a new head coach for the Patriots next year?
Yes. I'll tell you who it is, too. It's Rod Mayo.
Well, yeah, I feel like that's probably true.
Yeah, Rod Mayo will be the Patriots head coach in 2024.
Well, you're going to parlay it. You're going to say no Bill and Gerard Mayo?
Who else would they hire?
Look at my bet is going to be.
They're just going to kick Bill off to the front office,
which is the worst thing they could do. Bill Belichick, the head coach, is fine. It's Bill Belichick, the GM, that bothers me.
I agree with everything you're saying. I'm just telling you that's probably the thought process.
Well, Kyle, my prediction for the Patriots is that they finish last in the AFC East for the first time since 2000. This is not good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They kind of feed into each other, but will Kraft do it? Will he say that is enough? We need a new direction here. Bill wants that win record, man. He needs 19? That might take him 3 years.
I think it's technically 20.
Definitely taking him 3 years.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're not getting in the next 2 seasons unless you win double-digit games, and neither one of us see it as a double-digit win team.
No, and he's already upset that over the last couple of years they haven't been in the playoffs. It ain't going to happen this year. But does that result in Bill being fired?
So smash or pass.
I'm
passing on yours because I think Belichick's no longer the head coach after the year. So,
yeah. So you definitely think pass. Staying away from this.
Okay,
but there is something that you shouldn't stay away from, and that is eBay Motors, our partners
Wow.
at eBay Motors, have teamed up with Locked On Fantasy Football host Vinny Iyer to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week all season long. So whether you're prepping for a draft or scouting the waiver wire, every week we're going to provide you with players that are guaranteed to fit on your roster. So with draft prep underway for the upcoming season, let's see who Vinny has picked out for us on this week's eBay's Guaranteed Fit Fantasy Picks of the Week. Looking for a second-year fantasy football wide receiver who can drive your team to big points while he catches on with a new starting quarterback? Then expect a smooth ride when investing in Saints' Chris Olave. Olave was dangerous as number one in every capacity as a rookie, and there's no reason to pump on the brakes now that he has Derek Carr throwing the football to him. Vinny Iyer from Locked On Fantasy Football is going to help you win your fantasy championship, and eBay Motors knows a championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. With eBay Guaranteed Fit and over 122 million parts and accessories for your vehicle right at your fingertips, you can make sure your ride stays running smoothly. Air filters, brakes, batteries, taillights, alternators, shock struts, you name it, eBay Motors has it, and they'll make sure it's the right fit for your car because eBay Guaranteed Fit helps you understand exactly what part you need for your vehicle the first time. So go forth, switch gears, crank the AC, and say goodbye to sweating if your ride needs a little fixing up, because now you know you'll always be set up for success from the get-go with eBay Guaranteed Fit. Everything your vehicle is calling for is just a click away. For the parts and accessories that fit your vehicle, just look for the green check. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices at ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
It's a shame you passed on your Jets wide receiver, Garrett Wilson, as a second-year wide receiver, because it's what my bold prediction is for the New York Jets. I got Garrett 1,500 yards.
Wow.
Can we have an honest conversation about the rest of the Jets skill group? I know Jets fans want to hop on Twitter and talk up Tyler Conklin and Alan Lazard and Mecole Hardman and whatever Breece Hall is going to be this year. Like, Garrett Wilson is far and away the best thing you have going offensively. And the fact that he's already showing the chemistry that he does with Aaron Rodgers, and I think he's going to have a monster year. I think he's really good. And I respectfully, I don't have a lot of respect for the other talent pieces other than like, oh, Randall Cobb and Alan Lazard played with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. I think this offense is going to be very lopsided into Garrett Wilson.
The entire time, you know, Rodgers was in Green Bay, you heard so much about him not having receiver talent. And so we're bringing these receivers to the Jets, and all of a sudden we think there's receiver talent. Here's where I get concerned about this, Kyle. Aaron Rodgers had this guy, Davante Adams.
Yep.
He got 1,500 yards once. It was his last season in 2021.
It's recent. What have you done?
So Garrett Wilson in year one, that was like after, I don't know, 8 or 9 years with Aaron Rodgers. Year one with Aaron Rodgers has 1,500 yards.
Somebody's got to catch the ball, man. You can take
how many 1,500-yard receivers were there in the NFL last year?
Oh,
I know Dolphins had about, I think, 3 or 4, but I mean, I don't think that's normal for the rest of the league.
Had one, Tyreek Hill.
Waddle didn't have 1,500. Felt like he had 1,500 yards every game I watched.
Well, no, he
had
like
3.
I think
Jefferson, Hill, and Adams. That was it. I'm taking this, man. Smash.
I'm just floating around producing this. Who you say the third one was?
Last year we had Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, and Davante Adams. Those are your only 3 over 1,500.
Okay, AJ Brown had 1,496.
That would be not enough to get to 1,500. Not a math guy. It's 4 yards short. Like Eric Moulds. Eric Moulds has 9,995 receiving yards for his career. How does he sleep at night with that?
Yeah, you got to come back and play another year, right?
You know, there's some bogus PI or something holding call that took away 5 yards from him. Yeah, I'm taking it.
Okay, that's fair. And so I'll give you that one. I do just want to read you a couple numbers, though.
Okay.
Because I think this is the stratosphere of volume that he's going to get. What do you think is an appropriate target number for Garrett Wilson this year?
I think Garrett Wilson will get 130 targets, something like that.
I think he's good for 150 targets. 130 targets is still very good company, but 150 targets is Justin Jefferson, Davante Adams, Tyreek Hill. Those three guys had at least 170 targets. Then you got CeeDee Lamb, 6. He had 1359. Stephon Diggs had 154. He had 1429. Travis Kelce had 38 yards on 152 targets. Deontay Johnson, 147 targets for 882 yards.
Not great. That's not good efficiency.
Great.
That's not what we like.
Garrett Wilson, 147 targets last year for 1,100 yards. So I think
sounds like you feel good about it.
I feel great about it. I do
right.
feel great about it. Your Jets bet is what?
Start 0-2. Host the Bills at Dallas to start the year.
At Dallas, you said?
It's at Dallas. Host Buffalo at Dallas. Now, look, for the Jets, people come at us. We predicted them to win, 11 games or something?
We had the Jets as an 11-win football team this year.
Yeah, so. And I think we had them kind of a rough start. It's a tough schedule. They got the Patriots, the Chiefs, in that early stretch. Tough games.
Yeah, they've got a who's who of like contenders in the first month of the season. I actually think retroactively, I'm going to take these Stephon Diggs breaks the receiving record.
Okay.
I don't want to find myself in a situation where I fall behind like I did yesterday.
Okay.
So
you can have it.
11. Where I'm still good with 11, right?
Because good with 11. He's got to get 12 to break it.
Okay. I'll take my chances.
Okay.
I like that most out of the AFC. Now, if you want to come up on the Wilkins number, we can have that conversation too. But we'll now see. We're going to switch gears with eBay.
Are you taking the Jets? You think they start 0-2 as well?
No, I'm passing that. I'm not smashing that.
All
right. Cincinnati Bengals, first place, AFC North last year. Your bold prediction for the Bengals is blank.
Yeah, Zach Taylor coordinates the most prolific rushing offense of his career. That's total yards. So I think that he's never ranked higher than 23rd in the NFL in rushing yards. I think he gets to 22nd or higher this year.
I'm smashing the hell out of that.
All right.
Don't care. Joe Mixon took a pay cut. Samaje Perine. I didn't realize I didn't realize how lopsided the third down role was.
Yeah, man.
For Perine. He was like almost exclusively the third down back last year. I had Cam Taylor-Britt leads the team in interceptions in his second season.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. Chidobe Awuzie, a wild card coming back, 2 new safeties. I mean, 3 or 4 might get it done.
Mm-hmm.
He's got ball skills. He had a couple last year too. I think you're probably right about this, so I'm going to stay away.
Very good. Baltimore Ravens. I had second-year pass rusher David Ojabo. 6. Joe, the pass rush veteran market is withering quite quickly. Wow. And the Ravens have not got involved in this yet.
You say quite quickly, but it's taken a while to get going, right?
Yes. But the last week, we've seen Justin Houston just signed with
Carolina. Good move.
It's a great signing for. And Ngakoue just signed with Chicago for $10.5 million.
Essential move. Not just a good move, an essential. Needed it to happen. Needed to have one serious defensive lineman on the lineup.
How many times the rest of the defensive line group combined? Like, Ngakoue's career sacks is like X number the rest of the entire defensive line group combined.
A ton. Probably a ton. Yeah, that's funny to look at it that way. So yours is David Ojabo leads the Ravens in sacks. And so
yes.
Your big contender there's Owe.
Yeah.
And Ojabo is a lot more refined, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think you're probably right about this. No, I'm staying away from that. How many do I have on the board? Do I have one? Garrett Wilson, right?
You took the Garrett Wilson bet, yes.
All right, so I might have to search, and you still got a veto in your back pocket, so I might be in your shoes here.
Nope, I'm feeling really good about the veto. Still having the veto.
Staying away from it. My Ravens bet is that we have a career high in passing yards for Lamar Jackson. His current career high is 3,127.
I am not smashing that in any capacity.
Okay.
I don't know that the ideological shift is a good thing, but I know the ideological shift means is going to throw the ball more and post career numbers as a passer.
Okay.
So I'm staying away from that. The Pittsburgh Steelers show. Go ahead.
I have double-digit wins for Pittsburgh, and say that's not bold. They haven't done that in 4 of the last 5 seasons.
I'm staying away from it because we've seen that schedule.
Charmin soft.
I had Jalen Warren with 1,000 yards from scrimmage.
Smash.
Okay.
We like Jalen Warren. We really do. Like
I'm sorry, he's the best running back on the roster.
Woo!
I'm sorry, he is.
Now you got real spicy. I mean, you might not be wrong about that, but man, that Najee's such a volume guy for them. Now the biggest your best path here is a Najee injury. If he gets injured, no, of course not. But I'm just saying, like that's a possibility, and that's going to lead into Jalen Warren's.
But if Jalen Warren eats into some of the workload, I think Najee Harris was 3rd on the Steelers in 3rd down usage last year, like of the running backs. So I think if Warren can eat into some of the 1st and 2nd down, I don't see any reason why this guy can't have 400-500 receiving yards, and then you're in a position where like you'll make that interesting.
Trying to see last year.
Oh, you're going to float around and produce this thing
just for a second. So Jalen Warren had 593. He was 2nd in scrimmage yards for running backs.
Yep.
I feel good about it. I'm taking it. Smash.
I don't blame you for taking it.
Yeah.
My Cleveland Browns bold prediction is that Elijah Moore is this team's leading receiver.
Smash. And let's talk it through for a minute here, because this is me believing in Amari Cooper. And we both loved Amari Cooper.
I love Amari Cooper.
You talked about a little bit age regression. I'm not sure, man. He is its type of Elijah Moore's player I really like, but he's not proven that type of.
He has not proven that type. You're correct.
So I'm taking that.
Okay. And your Browns bold prediction is what?
17 sacks for Myles Garrett. It's career high for him.
I will smash that.
Okay.
I think the addition of the other names that you invoked in the pass rush room, while I agree that it's the most balanced pass rush room that they have, they obviously brought in Zadarius Smith and Agbo Okoronkwo. I think that eats into some of those opportunities.
Okay.
So I will say Myles Garrett, with competent pass rushers around him for the first time, will not reap the benefits of a career high number of sacks.
All right. So we have the East and the North in the books. Coming up after a very quick break, we will get to the South and the West.
Sources indicate we need to pick up the pace a little bit.
Yeah, I just noticed that. Sorry, We're having too much fun here.
Oh, no. Take me away, officer. Okay, the South. The Jacksonville Jaguars won this division last year. We both came away with very similar hot takes here. Mine was that Trevor Lawrence rewrites the single-season passing records for Jacksonville from yardage and touchdown perspective. And you had yardage.
Yeah, single-season franchise record for passing yards, which would be 4,429. Bortles, 2015, your current champ.
So, needless to say, we both believe the same thing. We're both not smashing that.
Yeah.
The Tennessee Titans finished in 2nd place. I know I'm taking yours here. We got and look, there's you predicted that Derrick Henry would be traded by the trade deadline.
Yeah.
And I predicted that Derrick Henry will have 2,000 yards from scrimmage, which would be the 2nd time in his career that he's accomplished that feat. I just don't think the Titans are having a overly honest outlook of where they are as a football team. They've started this transition, but they are going to try to tread water through it.
Mm-hmm.
And in a division where we like Jacksonville, but they're still a young team. They got hot at the end of the year last year. I could see them being around 500 for the trade deadline and being committed to trying to bridge the gap, as evidenced by the fact that they were the team that signed DeAndre Hopkins. So I just think their mentality is not going to align, even if they are underachieving come the trade deadline.
Veto.
I
can't let you have this. Not the Titans fans want to light my house on fire. I can't also have lose my house and then have you have this win. I have to veto it. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, that makes me feel better that I already have 3 in the bag because I know there's some others coming up that I'm interested in getting involved.
Well, you get whatever you want the rest of the way.
Okay.
So I have to make a decision on yours, which was 2,000
yards from scrimmage for Derek.
Dude, totally possible, and that includes receiving production.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm staying away from that.
Okay. The Indianapolis Colts, go right ahead.
I have 1,100-yard season for Michael Pittman, which would be more than a career high. 1082 was his highest back in 2021. I think even with Anthony Richardson as a rookie potentially being the starter, Gardner Minshew, I think he gets 1,100 receiving yards.
I'm mildly interested in taking this,
okay.
but I won't.
Right.
I had Samson Ebukam leads the team in sacks.
So Buckner, Pay. This is what's going to be interesting. There's a volume component that he hasn't really enjoyed. I think will happen this year.
Yeah, I don't think he's taken more than, I believe the number was 60% of defensive snaps before it and any of his stops. But he's just so dramatically different than the other edge guys that they have.
How many do I have on the books?
You have 3 on the books.
I won't make this my 4th.
Okay. You had 5 wins for
Houston, yeah. Most wins since 2019. They had 3, 4, and 4 the last 3 seasons. I think they get at least 5 in year 1 under D'Amico Ryans, which I think you had even more. You had 7. Yeah. So staying away, obviously.
Okay, so we both believe this will be a good year to be a Houston Texans fan.
The best year since 2019, for sure.
I can't wait to see CJ Stroud play football this week.
Yeah, we will definitely be talking about that on the Friday podcast. He plays the Patriots to open the preseason. And speaking of the Texans, there is a standing draft dudes bet that exists with Chris Schubert. Yeah, with the Texans. So I got just 2 more years, 3 more years so that they have to finish in the top half of the AFC South. So we'll keep an eye on that. Could happen this year.
The West.
Yep.
The Chiefs.
Heard about them.
Sky Moore, wide receiver 1 in targets, receptions, and yards.
I know, and your caveat there is obviously Kelsey's
wide receiver 1.
Yeah,
wide receiver 1.
I'm not touching it. Not touching it.
It feels so hot because he was kind of out of sight, out of mind for a lot of the year last year, but they made the investment in him, and he's obviously got a really good set of gifts to work with. So I feel good about him. And then you think about Kadarius Toney and the injuries, and he already got hurt in training camp. So I know that there's enthusiasm for Kadarius Toney, and he made the plays in the playoff run. But give me Sky Moore.
Staying away from that. I got Kansas City Chiefs. Isaiah Pacheco delivers the first 1,000-yard rushing season for the Chiefs since Kareem Hunt in 2017.
I will reluctantly pass.
Okay.
I think that's tempting. But I think the thing there is Pacheco never really was a featured back at Rutgers. He had some injury stuff that he had to deal with. He's a big dude that runs physical. Kansas City always seems to like to get a guy involved later in the year to kind of get the fresh legs.
Yeah.
So those are the things in the back of my mind I look at and I say, I could see this being one that I would take. And if I have to circle back, that might be the place that I go.
He's got that explosive gear too, man.
Yeah.
He's like pull away speed.
Yeah. The Los Angeles Chargers.
I've got the Chargers scoring the most points in a single season in franchise history. 492 in 2006 is their current high. Just give me 493 or more.
You said 493?
Yep.
I will take that one.
All right. I like
if they stay healthy. If they stay healthy offensively,
oh yeah,
you feel really good about their opportunity. I think they'll be much more explosive. Having Kellen Moore is a huge upgrade. But 493 is just a lot of points.
It's a lot of points. It's year one for a coordinator. I get it.
Yep.
Health concerns. Fair enough.
All of that combined, I'll take 493.
Okay.
I had Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler's last ride with the Chargers.
I remember this one. Both of them gone, huh?
Big money.
Do I still have to take one more?
You still need one more, and I still have a veto.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Might put you between a rock and a hard place here.
What do we have left? We have the Raiders?
Raiders and the Broncos after this.
And if I remember, your Raiders was something with Greg Dulcich, which I want to take that. I plan on taking that.
Okay.
And the other one was what team?
The Raiders.
I have no idea. I do not remember what your
Raider.
Fine. Okay. Are you going to veto the next one? You should veto the next one to put me down in confidence. Okay, I'll take this one. Smash.
Okay.
Because I need both. Both got to be gone.
Right. Well, and we had the big stink with the Eckler contract.
I get it, man. But
yeah.
I
Keenan's on the books for like $35 million right now for next year.
Maybe there's a legacy there. Just kind of rework it, figure it out.
There might be. Very, very feasible. The Raiders, Joe, my hot take was that Josh Jacobs will be the only player on the roster with excess of 100 rushing yards for the season.
Smash.
And I will veto that.
Yeah, I figured you were vetoing that, but I had to force the issue. I had to force it.
They were 3 yards away from Derek Carr last year from that being factual.
Kyle, I when I listen to this, I remember like, wow. And that's just crazy. You stumble into 100 yards from your second leading rusher, right? Like that just happens because football is played.
Not with the Raiders. They said, "Oh, you're in a contract year. We're going to run you into the ground." And now they got him on the franchise tag. If he's there and ready to play football, I fully expect them to do the same. But it is just it feels like such a statistical anomaly. And then there is the variable of Jacobs not being around the team right now that I think I would burn the veto here over the veto on the Greg Dulcich take for the next one.
All right. Well, I need to give you my Raiders, right?
Yeah, you need to.
I have McDaniels not finishing the year.
I will take this one as well.
Okay. I figured
so
you would.
Out by the end of the regular season.
Oh, that's fine. I have before the Raiders will play a game this year where Josh McDaniels will not be their head coach by their choice.
Okay. I will take that one as well.
Okay.
Which leaves us just the Denver Broncos. Mine was Greg Dulcich is the team's leading receiver.
I'm taking that.
And I can't veto you. Tim Patrick's down.
Yeah.
Courtland Sutton. I've been a champion of the brand for Courtland Sutton. I don't know. I think about the upside. I think Jerry Jeudy's probably the most likely name here. But Judy's also a guy who's had some injury stuff and has dropsies at times. So Sean Payton coming in, give me Greg Dulcich.
You get to root for Greg Dulcich all year long, even harder than you were planning on it. So there you go. Mine is at least 700 yards from scrimmage from Samaje Perine. And after you predicted 1,000 for Jalen Warren, that feels kind of soft. But I like it.
Yeah, I'll stay away from this one. Which means we each have 5. We each have 5 in the AFC. So you have 10 total against me, and I have 9 against you.
So 19 total bets?
Yeah. There'd be a lot of action.
We had something earlier in the offseason that I cannot remember what it was.
Yeah, I can't remember it either.
I feel like I really liked it, though.
I'm sure the listeners will remind us.
Yeah, let us know, please, if you remember.
If you remember our bet from earlier in the year, please let us know. But in recap, Joe, out of my bold predictions, and these were designed to be bold predictions, so if they sound outlandish, that was the entire point. Joe from mine in the AFC took 1,500 yards for Garrett Wilson. Jalen Warren, 1,000 yards from scrimmage. Elijah Moore, the leading receiver for the Cleveland Browns. Greg Dulcich, the leading receiver for the Denver Broncos. And Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler will not be on the Chargers in 2024. I took of Joe's. Stephon Diggs breaks the Buffalo Bills single-season touchdown record for receptions with 11. Zach Taylor's has his most prolific rushing offense in total yards in his career as a head coach. 22nd or higher is the ranking that's required there. A career high in sacks for Myles Garrett in 2023. The Chargers will score the most points this season in franchise history with 493 or more, and that Josh McDaniels will be out by week 18 for the Las Vegas Raiders.
I was more aggressive with my AFC stuff for sure.
That's why I came when I said, okay, I can.
Yeah, I get it. I see why you said what you said at the beginning there. It comes full circle. We'll see.
There we go. So that's fun. So we hope you guys enjoyed us kind of getting some skin in the game for this season, making some friendly bets. We still have to decide what's on the line. We'll tackle that next. We'll off air. We won't bore you with all that, but we will be back again tomorrow with more Locked On NFL Scouting. You can find us on YouTube or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. We appreciate you guys for checking out the show. Make it a great rest of your day, and we will be back again tomorrow.